Good afternoon, Mr. Bose.
Hi, John.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for asking me to join you.
Sure. So we are here with Mr. Bose. He is one of 8 candidates for 4 seats on the St. Michael's Town Commission. We're interviewing each candidate with a set of questions. So to start with the first question is, why are you seeking re-election?
Probably a more complicated answer than it should be, but it took me a long time to get to say yes to another term. As you probably know, and as a lot of people know, the last couple of years have been really tumultuous for St. Michael's in a couple of regards, and for me in particular. It took me a while to get to a point where I wanted to do it again. I think I always wanted to do it again. I wasn't totally sure that I wanted to go through the kind of stuff that we've been through for the past couple of years, the personal stuff. But when I sat down and really thought about it, I really felt that there was still a fair amount of unfinished business in St. Michael's that I had either had a hand in starting or had started. And I didn't want to let that go by the way. So that's probably the biggest reason. There's still more to do. A lot's been done. A lot of big things have been done, but there's unfinished business that I want to make sure gets finished.
Okay, thank you. The second question is, what makes you the best candidate, or to put it another way, why should people vote for you?
Yeah, probably a better way is the second way to put it. I don't know. Best compared to what? You know what? Everybody's own individual talents come to this job in one way or another, right? When I first became a commissioner 4 years ago, I came with a great deal of experience from the business world, as well as having spent a few years as a property or as a community manager in Northern Virginia. It was a job where I lived in that development, and I was asked to run it. It was a 2,500 home community. We had absolutely everything from enforcement and zoning, et cetera, marketing, all the issues we deal with as commissioners here in St. Michael's. Obviously, this is a smaller operation. I've got a fair amount of experience with board work and that kind of thing, and in particular, getting things done with other people. You know, there's entrepreneurs that live on air, live in their garage and make their own decisions. As a commissioner, you are one of 5, and you're one of 5 equal people. You have to be able to be some conciliatory. You have to reach out to people. You have to bring people together. And I think I do that really well. So I guess the biggest answer is, I think my life experience has prepared me for this kind of thing. I think the other side of it, though, is that I don't have any exclusivity to this. I believe all the commissioners and all the people running love this town. I really believe that. I believe that they all have St. Michael's best interest at heart. So I'm not going to sit and brag about that too much, but I do. I really do love this. You know, I'll bet if you walked up to 100 people in America and said, why do you live where you do? I would bet that a very large number of them would say, well, a job brought me here, or my spouse lived here, or my kids moved here and I followed them. Patty and I moved here consciously, deliberately, got rid of everything else and came here, like a lot of people did. But we made a conscious decision to come here, and I feel good about that. We wanted to live and finish in St. Michael's. So that's I think it's another big reason why. Number one, I'd like to do the commissioner job again. And number 2, I think I'd be good at it.
Thank you. And the third and final question is, in your opinion, what are the major issues facing the town of St. Michael's, and how would you address those issues?
Yeah. I personally think that commissioners of St. Michael's have got 2 things they should have at the top of their mind at all times. The 2 biggest jobs that we do. Number 1 is provide safety to the citizens, to the businesses, to the properties, and to the people, and to the tourists and the visitors of this town. And I'm not talking about just the police department. I am talking about them, but emergency, etc. I think that is one of the biggest things we do. I think we're absolutely blessed with a great police chief. Chief Anthony Smith. He believes in community policing. He believes in treating everybody with respect. He believes in using arrest and detention as the absolute last resort. And I think that he forces that issue with his people. So I think that we as commissioners, biggest thing we can do is just maintain that policy and that type of community safety program. The second thing that I think is not talked about a lot that commissioners need to think about, and that is the water supply. We are responsible every single time somebody in this town turns their tap water on. We're responsible to make sure that that water is clean, safe, drinkable, usable, and we take that very, very seriously. You know, I think that we take the water in this town, all of us that live here, for granted when we turn the tap on, but the Public Safety Department does not take it for granted. They test it every single day. And many years ago, we put a very expensive water purification system that dealt with new standards of certain things like arsenic and so forth that we had to deal with. And we spent a lot of money on that. So we are very, very dedicated to that. Those are the two big things. What's facing this town in the future? You know, the short term has got to be this pandemic. We talk about, you know, specific things like wearing masks, bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. And to a great extent, we follow the county, and then who follows the state. But with that said, beyond that, that is going to change. That is going to go. I've said that from the beginning. We need to deal with it. It may change us, but it is going to end. The other things, though, are longer term things. The beautification of this town, the financial health of this town. I have brought forth, in my first 4 years as commissioner, I brought forth a program of preparing for long-term repair and replacement of our assets. And we put the money away for that. We budgeted for it. And because of that, our town is in far better financial shape than it's been in a long time into the future. We're not eating the seed corn is the way I would put it. So financially, beautification, safety, not in that order, safety first, but those are our big issues. Obviously, the big issue is the town hall. People know where I stand on that. This is absolutely the right building at the right time in the right place, and it needs to be built.